Hi guys, this is Nikki Rowland. Before I start, I just want to say that my Instagram account and my Facebook account got hacked and removed from Facebook completely. So if you were trying to find me on Facebook or Instagram, I have a new account. It's called @NikkiClaire_Creates. So do hop over and follow me again if you can. Okay, so today I'm making a layout for Hip Kit Club, and it's playing along with the weekly sketch challenge. And I have the March kits to play with. I had all of them, but I didn't. I think I did use something from everything actually. So unfortunately I lost a little bit of the video at the beginning, so I'm a little bit further on than I should be, but what I did was that envelope really stumped me on the sketch, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do with that? I didn't want to do an envelope because I've recently made some layouts with envelopes on them, so I thought I would replace the envelope with a scroll, because my photos are about my daughter dressed up for the Roman day at school. So I thought I would try to replace it with an ancient Roman scroll. Well, I really struggled because I couldn't draw a scroll. I tried my hardest, and then eventually gave up and turned to the Silhouette store to find a cut file that would help me out a little bit. So I found a very basic one, and I cut it on a piece of white, and then I traced around it onto that fabulous Heidi Swap paper that's kind of oldie worldy, you know, it's kind of antique looking, and it was just so perfect for the scroll that I wanted to make. So I drew around my template and I cut it out in that paper, and I've drawn in some detailed lines on there as well, just distressing the edges now, and I'm going to add some stitching to it as well. I've also wanted to put something white at the bottom of the layout. I wanted to use that gold Heidi Swap art walk paper as my background because it was so gold, and that was really perfect for my photos of my daughter. So I really wanted to use that, but it was quite bold, and did kind of scare me a bit as a background. So I felt that I needed to bring in some white space onto the layout as well. So I did that by cutting a piece of the note paper, the lines, and I put a piece of that at the bottom, which I also extended slightly with some white card on either side. And then my scroll is going to sit on top of those, and that really nicely follows the line of the sketch too. And then I've got some fussy cut flowers from that beautiful Jen Hadfield Pebbles collection, which is called Hey Hello, and that whole sheet of like goldy colour with the black and white flowers was just ideal for what I was trying to do. It went so well with that gold paper from Heidi Swap. So now I am spending some time with my scroll, and I am piercing some holes along the detail lines and basically all around the edges as well. I can't remember if I turn off the camera or make you watch all of it, but I should have turned off the camera at some point. So anyway, I have chosen a gold thread. It's not gold, it's more of the dark yellow colour that appears in the papers. So it's, you know, I could call it gold, but really it's like a antique yellow or something like that, but not quite gold as in it's not metallic, but it is that deep yellow goldy colour. So I'm using 6 strands of thread, and I'm going to stitch around all of those detail sections, and I'm also going to go around the whole of the outside of the scroll shape as well. And that I could have just drawn some lines around it with pen, but I thought that the gold would really bring it to life. And actually, I'm so pleased I did it, even though it took a little bit of time. It does look really good. I'm so happy with how this layout turned out. I started this layout about 6 times. Every time I looked at that envelope on the sketch, I just didn't know what to do. I needed to have an idea hit me before I could roll with it. And I'm really pleased that I came up with this idea of the scroll and scrapbooking my daughter's Roman photos, because the gold background paper and the flowers and the scroll all works just so super duper well together. Okay, so there is my scroll all finished, all magically stitched, and yes, it does look great. I did question it many times throughout the stitching, does this actually look like a scroll? But I think by the end of it, it does. You can look at something too much sometimes, can't you? And then it starts to not make sense anymore. But yeah, it definitely looks like a scroll there. Okay, so I am going ahead with these flowers. Now, I'd fussy cut some already for a different project and didn't use them, so I have a little pile there, but I'm just going to fussy cut out a whole load more. I want to I was planning initially to have the flowers poking out from behind all the way around the scroll, but actually I think I did try that and it looked a little bit too much, didn't really work. I've got some tucked behind my photos, and some in the section at the top of the scroll, because I was trying to extend the design up the layout a bit, because to follow the sketch basically. So it had the peak of the envelopes, and I wanted to recreate that somehow, but obviously without the point of an envelope. So I've done that by using flowers, so you'll see me do that soon. So I'm just mounting my photos. So I wanted to introduce another colour. Obviously at the moment it's very gold and white, so I thought I'd introduce the soft pink tones that are in the March kits as well. They're really, really pretty. So I've just pulled out a couple of journaling cards from the Pocket Life kit, and I'm just adding mounts behind my photos, and I'm going to distress the edges of those two mounts as well. The mounts just give my photos a little bit of separation from each other, and also from the background and the white scroll as well, so that really makes the photos kind of pop up a little bit when I have a background on them or a border around them. So yeah, I am just going to work out roughly where my photos are going to go. I'd already kind of figured this out already, but now I'm just going to try my flowers idea with them peeking out all the way around the scroll. I wasn't sure about the entire circumference, but most of it definitely, and I'm just kind of giving that a go. But I'm getting to this point and I'm thinking, no, it's not looking right. It's going to lose the effect of the scroll if I do this. They need to obviously be clustered in certain places, and I was planning to do that, but having them go all the way around wasn't going to look good, and the bottom section was also quite close to the bottom edge of the layout, so I was a bit worried about that too. You can see that I'm still going with this keep adding and adding and adding, and then say at some point I'm like, no, not happy. I think I definitely keep the cluster over on the right hand side, but that one on the left I move in completely, so it's behind my photos rather than behind my scroll. And there I am extending the design up a bit to follow the sketch, so I've just pushed those flowers over slightly and I've raised one a bit further up too. Okay, so I've stuck most of the flowers down now and I'm ready to, I think my photos are stuck down, so I'm ready to start embellishing the layout from now. So it took me quite a long time to get to this point. So I'm pleased to say that I can finally now move on and start embellishing, which is my favourite part of scrapbooking. So I am still bringing in a bit more of that pink colour I'm now using some of the rainbows from the Heidi Swap storyline chapters. But I need to make this cluster over on the left a bit bigger. The two rainbows weren't quite enough, so they needed to kind of sit on something, so I've gone for a large heart shape from the Jen Hadfield Hey Hello ephemera. It actually says thanks on. I do make cards, but not that much, so I probably won't use them for card making. I really don't often send thank you cards, so I send birthday cards more than anything, but not really thank you cards. So I probably won't use that one, so it was a good choice to use as a layer underneath my little cluster of embellishments. So I have the big heart on the left, plus the two rainbows, some flowers, and then of course that pretty bow. Now that is from Crepe Paper Magical Forest. I really adore these bows. I love bows anyway, but these, they're quite big and they give a real bold splash of colour onto the layout, so they tick all the boxes for me. I love them. I don't care if my layouts are bulky. I love them. So I'll put anything on my layouts, not a problem, no matter how bulky. So so I've got that bow in place. I'm now working on this little cluster at the top. That was because there was a cluster at the top on the sketch too. Now I know you don't have to stick to the sketches completely, but in this case I was following it fairly closely, obviously swapping out the envelope for a scroll, but my title's in the same place, my photos are pretty much in the same place, so I just was really kind of going with it. So I have my rainbows little thing at the top right. They are on the white strip down the side. You can't really see it on the video, I think the light's shining off it, but it is a strip. It's again another piece from the ephemera, and it is it's kind of like it was quite a large strip. I can't remember what it said now, but it had a saying on it which didn't work, so I trimmed it down and then used it as a border strip. So it works really well in that way. So it does show that if you have some ephemera that some pieces are not to your taste, they can still be used. So say I tuck mine in as paper layers and I chop them down and I chop them up and I do all sorts of things with them. So yeah, they can all still be used. So I thought I love this cute little cat or cheetah. I'm not quite sure what he or she is, but he was the right colour and he had flowers on his head, so that went well. So that's at the bottom right of my photo. Just a little quirky critter. I love a quirky critter, so stick him in there. And I'm still adding some flowers and bits and pieces. I've got some other little stickers and things that I've added too, and I added a few more flowers as well. I'd fussy cut out quite a few of the little flowers, so I just poked a few of those in where I could. So now I'm working on my title. So I wanted the title in the same place as on the sketch, and I've got two different alphabet styles that I'm using for this layout. So the bottom one says style, and I'm using the small Amy Tan stickers for Roman. So style is those Vicky Boutin thickers that have got the text script on them, so they worked really well again with this layout. And the word Roman is in the white thickers rather than the blue one. So again, all worked really, really well. I was really pleased that I could fit the title in and it didn't look too big, and that I'd got the two different styles of alphabets as well. So yeah, I'm just coming in now, adding a few more of those flowers because I spent the time fussy cutting them, so I wouldn't want to waste them. So I'm raising all of them on foam pads and sticking them at various points on the layout, tucking them here, there and everywhere. Oh, I forgot to mention that I've used one of the Heidi Swap storyline chapters corner stickers. That's at the bottom right side corner even of my photo. I've added a little bit of, added a couple of small flowers to the left of the word style as well. And now I'm coming in with my golden twiddles. So of course the thread colour had to be gold on this layout because the layout is gold. And I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers thread and just tucking it in here, there, and I've got three clusters actually. So one at the top, one to the left and one to the right. Normally I would only use 2 twiddles of thread on a layout. That's not a rule, it's just that I don't want to overdo things normally. So well, that coming from me is quite rich, isn't it? Because I tend to overdo things. But I didn't want to overdo it. I don't normally want to overdo it, so I normally try to stick to just the 2 twiddles of thread. But in this occasion, I had so many large clusters that I thought I would go for it. I could have put like 6 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I could have put 6 different twiddles in here, but I say don't want to overdo it. So I've got a lot of clusters on this layout, not my normal style. I normally have some quite distinct ones, but on this occasion I've got quite a number of them. So yeah, getting there now, not far off being done. I have really actually enjoyed this layout, even though it took me ages to get started. I say I wasn't sure about the sketch, I just didn't have any ideas, but now that I've made it, I really love it. I'm happy with how my layout is looking now. So I have added some stitching off camera. I've added a couple of lines of machine stitching through the strip on the right hand side. I've also gone through my chipboard alphas because I was worried that they would ping off at a later date, so I have sewed them in place. They are not going anywhere. And then I'm just carrying on with the bits and pieces from the Jen Hadfield Hey Hello sticker sheet. Cute critters. I've added a bird, I've added a heart, another heart, a few other hearts, yeah, just added in those where I could and where they worked. And now finally I'm adding some yellow splatters. So I'm using the Nouveau Mousse that was in the March colour kit, and I am watering it down with some water, and mixing it together on my craft mat, and then just using it with a paintbrush to add splatters to my clusters. Finally, I am just adding some journaling at the bottom of my layout. It reads, Sophie dressed as a Roman goddess, ready for her Roman wow day at school. And then I'm adding I'm going to add the date to that little ticket to the right of the photo once I've off my phone, because I'm currently filming on my phone, so I can't look up the date of the photo. Yeah, I'm going to write that into that little tab when I'm done. Okay, so that is me done. Make sure you join along with the sketch challenge this week. It's great fun. I hope you get started easier than I did, and you can do that on the Hip Kit Club Facebook group, so head over there. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.